today I took a journey into Battle and Brew to see what people really thought, what the real gamers really thought about virtual realities. The documentary that I looked at is called Life 2.0. This documentary goes into a couple people's different lives and how they adjusted their second life, virtual reality, to their real life and how their relationships were changed based on this relationship with this video game.
I'm Abigail Dillon and I'm here with and we are going to talk about virtual reality. So what game are you playing right now?
I am about to be playing Cryptid Necromancer.
And what is that?
It's a rhythm-based game where you're playing an adventure game to the rhythm of whatever song is playing, and you can insert your own songs, you can sort of explore any sort of genre, and the game controls change based on that.
So cool. Now, have you ever heard of the game or virtual reality universe Second Life?
Yeah, familiar with Second Life.
Oh, have you ever played it before?
Briefly, very briefly.
What did you think about it?
I thought it was really awkward in the way it handled and controlled, but the concept is really cool. It's clunky. Very clunky.
Now, do you create an avatar for this game?
This one, no, but you can for some of the other games I play, EVE Online, a lot of the MMOs do that.
Now, when you create your avatar, do you create that thing to be more like you, or do you create it to be something that you wish you could be like, or something crazy that's super mystical, or what?
I try to stick close to home.
Okay.
Like I tend to steer towards characters or things where
that you really
that I'm familiar with, or maybe modeled after me, maybe not. Something close to home though. I very rarely play like a woman or something crazy.
Oh yeah. That'd be cool. Okay, so how many hours a day do you say you play?
Do I have to admit that?
You
I'm
have
kidding.
to admit it.
I'm kidding. 6 to 8, not bad. I mean, unfortunately, I have a career, so otherwise it'd be higher than that.
I have 2 jobs. I completely understand.
Yep.
Completely understand. Now, let me see what other questions I have. Okay, how long have you been playing? Have you been into the virtual reality games?
Let's see, 96, 95 probably. 95. EVE Online, I started playing with Ultima Online, and that was my first online game, and you build a persona and you do all sorts of stuff like that. I've been hooked ever since, kind of.
Wow, that's amazing. So how many times do you come here to Battle and Brew a week? You can admit it.
3 to 5.
So do you, when you were saying how many hours you played, did you log in the time that you also spend here, or do you mainly play at home?
I mainly play at home. I mostly meet friends here, sort of be part of the community around here, but on occasion we'll game here as well, as we're doing right now.
So with these virtual reality games, are you laughing at my questions?
No, I'm laughing at how bad I am.
Oh, okay.
I am terrible.
Awesome. With these virtual reality games, in my documentary that I was watching, which is based on Second Life, they were talking about how it affects relationships positively and negatively. Like one story where this woman and this man both married from different areas, but they ended up having an emotional affair via Second Life, and they met in person, had an actual affair. And then another story where this woman really felt connected to the people she met in Second Life and would meet up with them, and they were best friends. How do you feel when you're
It happens all the time. A good set of friends of mine are actually married and have met originally through Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy 11, yeah. So they met online, she lived in Wisconsin, he lived here, they ended up meeting at an event in Texas, and they had the basis of their relationship online to start from, so it wasn't like meeting a complete stranger.
Yeah, exactly.
And they've ended up marrying since, and obviously the rest of it is a story.
History.
Exactly. But there's a lot of, I guess, emotion that gets tied in, and you're still dealing with people at the end of the day, right? So these people, whatever they pretend to be, or etc., sometimes you get to peel back the layers and see who's on the other end, and then it's a relationship through the means of an online game or etc. But it stops being about the game; it starts being about the other person, right? And I think it's probably the same case in Second Life and a couple of other places, I would assume.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Of course.
Pleasure.
Absolutely.
I'm here with Dylan. Funny, right? So Dylan, how long have you worked at Battle and Brew?
I have worked at Battle and Brew since the old location closed, so for about a year now.
Oh, okay. What do you like most about it?
Honestly, the people and the environment, it's unique.
Now, do the games that you play incorporate a virtual reality where you can interact with other players and talk and exchange?
So like a multiplayer online?
Yes.
Yeah, actually on Arc right now, me and a couple of the other people here who play it, we set up a server so that we can build and create ride dinosaurs together.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Now, so in the documentary Life 2.0, it showcased different people doing the different lives through Second Life. And one guy was engaged and it completely ruined his relationship with his fiance. Because what was really interesting was in the game, like he was an older gentleman, not older, late 20s. And in the game, you know, you can create whatever avatar you want.
Yeah.
And he created his to be an 11-year-old girl. And she was very, you know, awkward about it, didn't really know how to go about that and approach him about that. And it drove them apart because he would spend hours and hours and hours playing. How many hours do you spend like, a week or a day playing video games? Of any kind.
Depends on how many days I'm working that week.
Okay, you're off the entire week. You can be honest, it's okay. It's a safe environment.
Hours a day. Probably, I mean, maximum, I would say, on like really rare days, I'd say 10.
Okay.
Minimum, probably like 3.
Okay.
So it ranges accordingly, but at the same time, I live with my girlfriend and stuff like that, so
Does she play too?
she plays some.
Okay.
So like she tries to play, you know, some games, but mostly it's us playing video games together, like the new Batman game we're playing and stuff like that. Yeah.
Is that good?
It's awesome, but
I
it's
think some
so.
commercials for it.
It's awesome, but like the only way to like truly beat it is to absolutely do everything. So all those Riddler trophies that you skipped over in every single game, you have to get all of them to get the actual ending.
So there's no point in skipping over it.
It's fun, but it is long.
So when did you start getting into these video games? Like really start playing? Like how old were you?
When Crash Bandicoot came out for PlayStation 1.
I don't know games. You're gonna have to speak English.
I grew up with a NES, so like the original Nintendo Super Mario Bros. And then you know I had a SNES, Super Nintendo, and then PlayStation was when I started like really like playing a lot. You know, just to like beat the games and learn the stories and stuff like that, because that's what I sink my teeth into. So yeah, probably 1990, like 6 or 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, can you describe your average day for me? Say you are working.
Wake up, go to work.
What time do you wake up? Not to be like intrusive.
2 p.m.
Really?
Yep.
Wow, okay.
Wake up at 2 p.m., go to work, start work at 4, maybe have a chance to sit down and play some video games depending on where we stop for lunch.
Okay.
Me and a bunch of my buddies who work here, we carpool.
With saving gas, saving
We live in the same house.
No, saving everything, saving money.
Come here, start work at 4, open at 5. Usually it depends on where in the building I'm working. So like, you know, a closing shift, you'll leave at like 2:30 or 3 a.m. Dining room shift, generally, unless it's a really busy night, closes at like 10 or 11. Yeah. So like, I'll either go home and either play video games a little bit, or just chill out here and grab some dinner. If I'm not closing, if I am closing, then grab dinner, eat it while I'm trying to close hastily.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, go home and go to bed.
Now, if your girlfriend didn't play these video games with you, like even just the ones y'all play together, do you think that would have tension in y'all's relationship? Like maybe she didn't understand why you're spending all the time with that.
Well, and also, the thing that I will point out about that is that it's not one of those situations where like, because she works like a 9 to 5.
Oh, okay.
So my off hours are her on hours are my off hours. So I try and take off, like Sundays and stuff like that, days that I know that she's going to have off, so that we can spend time together and stuff like that, which maintains general upkeep. But if she's around, I'm usually not playing video games unless we're playing them together, just because I'd rather spend time with her.
Let's see if I have, any more questions for you. How old are you?
24.
24. You had to think about that.
Yeah, after 21, you just forget how old you
I just
are.
was going to start forgetting how old I am after this. Awesome. Well, thank you, Dylan, so much.
No worries.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Jason. So, Raina, how old are you?
I'm 27.
27.
To think about it. I got my first gaming system when I was like 4.
Oh, wow. What was it?
It was an NES. It was like a hand-me-down. The SNES had just come out. My cousins gave me the NES.
So then you got...
And I played a lot. And then since then, I want to say that when I started spending a lot of time gaming was when I was in 5th grade and the Pokemon games came out on Game Boy. And then that was just like life-sucking.
Basically, so how many hours average a day do you play video games? Any kind of games?
I'm afraid to answer.
No, it's totally fine. Everybody's been a little unsure about it, but you can answer truthfully.
A lot. Probably, I'd say 2 at a minimum. I at least log on to
Okay, what would be your maximum?
12.
That's not bad at all. That is not bad.
It's only every waking moment,
The documentary that I watched, people were playing 18, 20 hours a day.
I mean, I've done it before, but I wouldn't
That's not
say
your
that that's my average. But I probably average around 6.
That's not bad at all. Don't be ashamed, Brandon. Don't be ashamed. I read and I'm on. Heck, people are on Facebook. Way more hours than that throughout the day. That's just mindlessly scrolling. At least you're doing something.
I do that too.
It's okay. We all do it. It's all our guilty pleasures. So, describe your average day for me. You wake up, and then what do you do? And what time do you wake up?
I have a daughter, so that adds into my day, but she also plays games, so she's 5. So usually I wake up, and I'm not a morning person, so I usually get up and get her breakfast and everything, and then we kind of play around and watch cartoons, and then when she naps, I'm usually playing games. And then I also stream games at night or when I'm not working.
What do you mean stream games?
On Twitch TV.
I'm not familiar with terminology here.
Okay, so Twitch TV is a website where you can basically link it, it links to your computer and streams what you're doing on your computer.
Okay.
And it's basically centered around gaming. And then so I hook up my webcam and everything and stream me playing video games. I started with League of Legends, which sucked up my life for about 2 years.
That has sucked up a lot of my friends' lives too. I don't see them anymore.
Yeah, and then lately I've been streaming Heroes of the Storm and Ark.
Okay, yeah. Bunny and Dylan, we're talking about Ark.
Yeah, we're all kind of addicted to Ark right now. It's really cool game.
So what is your favorite aspect of these games you play?
I play so many different games. To me, the biggest thing, and one of the reasons why I started streaming was community.
Okay.
So, I went through a period where I was pretty lonely and in a bad living situation. That's when I started streaming so that I could connect to other people. So I really I started playing Warcraft in 2005, and I played that for a long time. So I really like the community aspect of gaming. That's what's fun to me, is being able to interact and do incredible things with other people.
Now, do you ever, obviously you play with people you don't know. Do you ever try to seek out those people in real life and hang out with them and meet with them at the game all together when,
I have before. I've had some of my Warcraft guildies come down and meet up with me.
Where were they from?
He was from, it was him and 3 other people, and they were all from the same state, they were all in the same guild, and he was from Ohio, I think.
Oh, wow.
If I remember correctly, it was a few years ago, so. But yeah, and then I have other friends that, I have a friend from Scotland, and we haven't actually met, but we talk to each other outside games all the time and stuff also, so.
Do you feel that sometimes you have a better connection with the people inside the games than you would everyday people just around you in general?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you feel, so your daughter's 5. What is her name?
Adele.
Adele. That's a great name. Raina and Adele. It's perfect. What kind of games is she playing right now? Obviously I assume
She got a tablet for her birthday, and so she likes to play. She plays a lot of educational games, but she also plays like silly games like Fruit Ninja and stuff like that. But she knows how to work the tablet completely, like knows how to work like YouTube, Netflix, everything.
Wow. Golly. Oh yeah. Okay. So your perception of people who play Second Life, do you consider them on the same level as you playing your World of Warcraft games and all those other ones? Because those are more like fighting, where Second Life is more of just life, but in a computer.
Right, yeah, I think like Ark's probably more like that, only with dinosaurs. So like, yeah, I can definitely like relate to it. Especially like some of the things that I liked more as like Warcraft has like expanded is that there is like more like day-to-day stuff to do, like maintaining your garrison and doing your like daily quests and harvesting crops. I don't know, like it's really simple, but it's somehow enjoyable. So
now, let me rephrase this. Do you ever feel like you come home like it's a really aggravating day from work or just in general, and you de-stress by playing these games?
Oh, absolutely. That is I have pretty severe anxiety, so like gaming is like my de-stressor 100%. It's like I can come home. I actually met my boyfriend through gaming also.
Really?
So,
what game and how did that happen?
League of Legends, like he actually lives in Georgia, so he messaged me on like a dating site, but I like wasn't really interested. But then he added me in the game and we started playing together, and I got to know him better, and so we played games together for like a few months probably, and then he was like, "We should meet," and I was like, "Okay." And then like now we still just play games together all the time.
That's so cute.
So, yeah.
It's very interesting. One of the people, or the documentary went through different people's lives and how, you know, they've gotten along through Second Life and then in the real world essentially. And one of them was this woman and this man, both married, separate, you know, he lived in Canada, she lived in New York, and they ended up meeting and having this like emotional affairs, that's what the video called it. And then they met in real life and ended up having a real affair, and then they both separated with their counterparts and everything, and they tried to, you know, live together and make it work, but they realized that, you know, living in Second Life, you know, together, having that happy dream was easy.
It's fantasy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then real world, you know, actually takes a lot more work. So did you ever feel like it was difficult going from the gaming relationship that y'all were getting to know each other like that to an actual working outside relationship?
It was a little bit more challenging for sure, and a little bit awkward.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little awkward when you meet someone that you know from a game.
Because you know so much about them already, but
Right,
then you don't.
but you don't have that connection when you look at them. Like you don't look at that person and relate it to this person.
You
You
relate
know
to their
online.
character.
Right. So I'm like looking at him and I feel like I don't know you at all, but I actually know you really well.
Ah, that's very interesting.
But then like now we actually like spend a lot of time together and still game together.
Oh,
so,
that's good.
Yes, it's been really good. But it was weird at first for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Raina, for joining me on this quest.
No problem.
Good. If I can just get your email.
Talking to the gamers at Battle and Brew, I really got a first-hand experience of how they view the virtual realities that they play in and how their relationships transform into the real world. I really feel like the documentary kind of exaggerated the way that people lived with the Life 2.0, because at the very end, that woman was talking about how she felt like she was a victim of the video game. And I can understand the woman who lost a ton of money over copyright issues being a victim of the game, but the couple, they went into this knowing, you know, what they were doing, what they were getting themselves into, and just because it didn't end happily ever after like she wanted it to, doesn't mean that she was a victim. People might disagree with me, but all in all, I think that as long as you're able to play the games and be able to keep a healthy perception on what's real and what's not, and maintain the relationships that are real around you, and form relationships outside of the game, then I think you're going to do all right. It was very interesting to listen to and watch this documentary take place, because I had never heard of the game outside of that one episode of The Office when Dwight plays it. It was very interesting and definitely opened my eyes a lot to virtual worlds. I almost actually wanted to start playing Second Life, but then I decided not to, because I didn't want something to happen to me where I become sucked into that, because I become obsessed with new media tools very easily. Well, thank you for watching and listening, and I really hope you take time to watch this video. It's about an hour and 40 minutes. Enjoy!